Welcome to the Expert Network Team podcast.
Welcome to today's podcast. I am so excited. We're going to continue our conversations with John Geringer and Mindy Bandimere-Jordan. Did I get the whole name right this time?
Yes.
Very important. We've got Jeff Crumendike from One Digital here. How are you, Jeff?
Good. Well, thanks for having us.
And Nathan Merrill, right on time, as always. And yeah, how is the world on the west side?
It's more mild and
Is it?
yes, it's very
You don't
nice.
get the
over there.
snowfall that we have here.
No, when you guys got dumped on, we got like half an hour of snow in the morning, and then it was sunny and
Boring. Way too easy.
yeah.
Life out there. It's like you're already retired.
I've said recently that if migration went west to east, Grand Junction would be Denver.
Yeah.
The
it
only
would be
reason that
ridiculous.
people wouldn't choose Grand Junction is you had to cross the Rockies to get
Yeah.
there.
Too much snow.
Yeah, it's
Too
true.
much snow. I am so excited talking about obstacles. We've got an obstacle crusher with us.
Yes.
Today's topic is just going to be awesome. We're really excited to learn about it. We were talking about it just before we started today. And you got 5 big ideas to lay out with us. And you've got 3 guys who remember you from the early days. And sometimes some of us will give you a hard time.
Was it when he had hair?
No, I don't think we did that.
I don't think we even knew him back then.
Been in.
That's not happening.
No. But I mean,
You're really alone.
I guess we don't have time for a joke, so I'll just the joke. Go ahead.
I love it. Well, I am, I prefer the men who are like myself, follically impaired, but it's just because our brains are so big, right?
Oh,
We're just
really?
radiating
Oh my gosh.
knowledge.
Well, Carl, as my dad said, you can't grow grass on a busy street. I love it. Sorry.
Yeah, good. Well, I think what's awesome is that our last podcast that we did with John and Minnie, we in essence I think felt like we as advisors would maybe like some advice. He alluded to the strategies, right? And so we're gonna kind of sit here and let John do his thing. We would love to just do a little bit of a overview of the 5 strategies that you would typically approach a advisor that's looking to, in essence, accomplish a goal and do it quicker, and really one in which could expect to see some results if they engage with you. So here we are. I don't know if there's any other better way to get maybe 15 minutes of free consulting, but I thought
That's it.
let's do it. And so we're going to turn these 2 loose and just kind of give us an overview of what we could expect.
Sounds good. And as you guys know, we're never successful by ourselves, right? As Jim
Okay.
Rohn would say,
That's right.
it's hard to find a rich hermit. So of course, Mindy and I work together to help advisors who serve the ultra high net worth, help them see and achieve a bigger future than they've ever imagined possible faster. So what Mindy and I thought we'd share today are 5 strategies to bust through obstacles
Awesome.
and meet your full potential. So
This is what the Mormons did when they moved from east to west, Nate. They busted
I
through
don't
some
know if you know anything
obstacles.
about the Mormons.
Yeah, I know a little bit.
Yeah.
It's called family history, but
Yeah.
that's right.
they were also busting through with a gun at their back. So
All right, so they're forced.
It's a little bit different.
Well, sometimes life is like that.
Yeah.
No, my great grandfather passed or crossed the plains at 9 years old, driving a team of oxen with his widowed mother. So they busted through a lot, and
Wow.
but I think that talks about when we overcome those challenges, we grow, and that's John, what you're talking about is people growing through their overcoming their obstacles or challenges. What stands between them and their ultimate objective or goal, which in our case was the desert. When the Mormons crossed the plains, but what's other people's deserts?
Yeah, well, I mean, the number one thing that I don't know, I'm sure there's one out there that does, but if you think of higher education, I don't know of an institution that teaches this, that first of all, what Dan Sullivan would call work in your unique ability. So I call it triple G, or Mindy and I call it triple G leads to triple E. And what we mean by that is that nobody has the same fingerprints. So me, growing up from third grade for a long time, being inauthentic, if Carl was successful, I would try to emulate Carl, but I'm not Carl. That is not a good game plan for being successful. I need to be me, who God created me to be. So triple G is working in your God-given gifting. Because Proverbs 12:18, if you think of proverbial wisdom, Proverbs 12:18 says, a man's gift will make room for him and bring him before great men. And I believe it's the same for women too. Everybody's gifted. So you have to first start with, like, we're literally not serving ourselves if we don't start to understand our own unique ability. And a question to start with on that is, if you could do one activity that would motivate and fascinate you the rest of your life, what would it be? So Carl, if you could do one activity that would motivate and fascinate you the rest of your life, what would it be?
Man, mountain climbing, hiking, just getting out there. I love that.
Cool. Nathan, I've asked you this question
Solving
before.
problems, well, designing the solutions. to
Designing
problems.
advanced tax strategies, I think, is what.
Those are the problems that I.
Right,
solve.
exactly. How about you?
Making people feel valued.
Yeah. Okay. So you have to start with your uniqueness, because everybody's unique. So I used to try to emulate other people. You can be successful. However, you will never meet your full potential with that strategy. So that's number one. And it's, let me finish it out. When you work in your God-given gifting, triple G, it leads to you doing things that are, number one, easy. They're easy for you. They're energizing for you. They're not a battery drainer, and you're really effective at it. Well, why is it easy? Because God created you to do it. Why is it energizing? Because God created you to do it. And why are you effective at it? Because God created you to do it, right?
Yeah.
So it's so simple. But I was trained, I was raised by a dad who grew up in World War II, and he grew up in the Depression and was a World War II vet. He taught me to work hard, which is great. Working hard is great. However, when you work in your God-given gifting, your unique ability, it's not hard work.
Well, you know what it makes me think of is, and this may sound a little bit harsh, but one thing we're often, or we've been taught, and I think it's still a mantra among folks, is that you can do anything you want.
Mhm.
Like, you can be anybody you want, you can do anything you want. And I think what I hear you saying is, well, that may be true. It may not be good for you to be what you aren't
Correct.
inherently designed to be. That you'll be a better you if you just maybe turn a little inward and discover yourself before you say, I want to be president of the United States. You may not actually want to be president. Could you be?
Sure.
Yes. But should you be is a different question.
Right. Is it going to be literally work that is actually energizing
Right.
for you, actually enjoy doing? So you might still be effective, but what if it's a battery drainer? I mean, I think of the bumper sticker, like work is I think of one saying that, work is a four-letter word, right? Like, it's a bad word. Work's not a bad word, right? Especially if you're doing something that you were created to do. Like, everybody's created for a purpose. Or I owe, so off to work I go.
Right.
Like,
Or work is what I do so I can play on the weekends.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, when we work in our unique ability, or as Dave Shepard, who I work with, says, your highest utility, right? Your highest utility. So,
Yeah.
So that's number one. Triple G leads triple E. And then number two, from a standpoint of focus. So where your focus goes, I learned this from Tony Robbins, where your focus goes, your energy flows. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. So we get to choose what we focus on. And if you don't know it, if you start your day off watching the media, if you watch normal news is there. How do they make their money? Selling advertising. Well, they know that they're going to best sell advertising if 95% of what they talk about is negative or fear-based, and only 5% is positive. Well, is that really what you want to start your day with? You want to focus on all that's going on in the world and all the negative things that you can't even control, right? So where your focus goes, your energy flows. So what are you going to focus on a daily basis? And it should be something that's actually motivating and fascinating to you, that you want to achieve, that you want to have a difference. So, and that leads into number three, which is knowing your why. You want to talk about why a little bit?
Yeah, your big why is what gets you out of bed in the morning. It doesn't matter if you have enough money to do it or not. That's just, it's who you are, right? And oh, what is his name? He was from 3 to 5, Alan Weingartner, right?
Okay, yeah.
And he's from the 3 to 5 community. I don't know, I'm sure you guys have heard the quote, right? He knew his why when his why had him. And I've gone through big why, I don't even know how many times. And it wasn't actually until this year that I realized what my why is. And my why is serving from abundance. Because that goes to my personal life, it goes to my spiritual life, it goes to my work life. It just crosses everything. And so your big why is just, it can go into every aspect of your life. And it's what's you.
Right. And it's a big why is a goal that you can never check off. So it's never completed. So your big why is
To help people discover their potential and find ways to achieve it. And it did, to your point, take me years to get there because I was a little bit of you, like my why was who I wanted to project to people who I thought I wanted to be, not who I really was.
Yep.
And so I had to like chip away at it bit by bit until one day, similarly, I'm just like, this is easy for me to say because it's authentic, it's me. That's really what drives me through all aspects of family, church, and work. So
yeah.
And we can't check it off.
can't take it off. No.
And you can't check it off. And like Mindy said, it can be personal or professional. So it can be your own children who you're helping them discover their potential and find ways to achieve it, right? But it can also be attorneys that you mentor or
Clients
associates that you
or-
mentor
yeah.
or clients,
Yeah.
right? It can be anybody. And in a why, if you think of a flame, there's a blue part of the flame. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Mhm.
That's the hottest part of the flame. So your why is literally like Mindy said, like it energizes you. So my wife's a night owl. You know, I get up at about 3 a.m. Sometimes my wife's just coming to bed. But, you know, if you woke me up at midnight, which I should be well into a deep sleep and said, what's your big why? I would tell you to see and help people see and achieve a bigger future than they ever imagined possible faster, right? That energizes me, you know, and if you woke me up at midnight, it would energize me and yours would energize you. So yeah, so that's third one. And then 4 is think big. So, you know, if you think about it, I think we get one chance on earth, right?
Yep.
And so if you think about 7 habits of highly effective people begin with the end in mind. Well, one of the reasons that big why is so important is because the difference that you intend to make. But what if for you, Nathan, to help people discover their potential and find ways to achieve it, you know, if you weren't intentional about that, you said, well, I just want to help people. And it's like, you know, I want to help. But at the end of your life, you help 10 people. Well, I know you're capable of more. So think big. How many people do you want to help, right? What kind of
I
impact do
actually
you
want
want
to
to
have that conversation. That might be something to talk about. 'Cause
Yeah.
I haven't really explored the depth of what my why has to be for me to feel like I've met my potential.
Yeah. But I would just say think big, and this is part of where your focus goes, your energy flows. Because from a standpoint of be intentional, be thoughtful, think big. And I just know from experience with my growing up in a household that has scarcity mindset versus an abundant mindset and growing up inauthentic. And now from a standpoint of things that I would have never imagined that I would have achieved, haven't achieved, but it comes from number one, you can never be successful by yourself, first and foremost. So it's other people helping me, right? And mentoring me and coaching me and working with me. And then from a standpoint of it's actually going after things. And in 1 Corinthians 2:9, it says, what no eye has seen and what no ear has heard and what human mind has conceived, the things God has planned for you, for those who love him. And it's like abundance, like big. So think big. So think big goals. And then, so that's number 4. And then number 5, have goals. Decide what you want and write it down. Because statistically, you are somewhere between, depending on the statistic you look at, somewhere between 35 and 40% more likely to achieve a goal just by writing the goal down.
Yeah.
Just by writing the goal down. So you're almost, depending on the study, you're almost 50, you're at least a third of the way there. And almost 50% just by writing the goal down. And then in SMART goal fashion, which SMART is an acronym for be specific about what the goal is. Make sure it's measurable, achievable. Now it doesn't, you know, if we said in a second, we're going to make $10 million, that's probably not achievable, right?
Might not be.
right? So, but make it achievable, results based. What's the result you want in this example? I said, I think $10 million, and then time based, put an actual deadline on it, on when you intend to achieve it, because everybody works better with deadline. So those are 5 things that we know from experience, Mindy and I, in helping advisors and helping entrepreneurs, help them bust through obstacles that are holding them back.
That's awesome. I'm ready to go, baby.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
Fired up?
You ready for the next chapter?
This is great.
Well, and just kind of circling back to the coaching side, because, you know, you mentioned how you used to listen to the books on tape.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have the Audible and I've read all these books, going back to even Think and Grow Rich, where some of these
Sure.
principles are laid out.
You bet.
But the value in bringing what you know to be true into the coaching context helps with that. It's almost like putting your hands on it rather than just hearing it. You are doing it in real time, and you're learning and applying principles that you know to be true, but you're not like totally replying. Having someone like you to help say, and I forget the phrase you always use is, have you considered, or
I invite you to
I
consider.
invite you to consider, because you're basically just surgically dialing in on, these are the principles you need to focus on in this instance where I'm losing the forest for the trees. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's a perfect example of, like, we can go over these concepts right here and someone could review them over and over again. But sometimes it takes a coach to help you say, right now with this problem you're having, I invite you to consider that this could be something you need to attend to.
Yeah.
Well, and also something that for our Pro U group that we always end in, right, is results come from implementation. So go implement. Because also you could read all those books and not implement a single thing. You aren't going to get any
It's a
further.
great point. It's a huge point, because, big point. And I mean, Nathan, you've given Mindy and I permission to where you're like, hey, look, if you know what I need to do, like, don't just keep asking me questions. Just tell me what I need to do, right?
Right.
But that's Nathan. Not everybody's like that, but that's also in working in, you know, for years we've worked together in a
Right.
coaching relationship, and from a standpoint of, so you're like, hey, I want to get there fast. Just tell me what I need to do and I'll go do it and I'll go execute. Results come from implementation. So, yeah.
There's got to be some value in walking somebody down that road as well, as opposed to just giving them all the answers. I know Nate wants the answers and he'll go ahead and implement it, knowing your heart and knowing that, you know, he trusts you. And but you probably also would be better to have that person land on it themselves. Then they're bought in, right? As opposed to trying to convince them that this is what they need to do. So
Correct.
kind of a tightrope to walk, I'm sure, as coaches, and just
Well, there's a lot of trust there too, because I know
Yeah.
John doesn't know the answer to every question. Sometimes we
Correct.
do get into a dialogue where he's like, well, help me understand this better. And we walk through it. And as we walk through it, the answer starts to come to the surface, where either it's my head trash or additional information we need or whatever. But just John asking me to explain it to him sometimes is that walk down that path.
Right.
talking out loud and
Yeah.
you know, kind of collaborating.
I'll be like, I got this problem. He's like, well, help me, let's walk
Yeah.
it back. Let's walk through
Yeah.
it and.
Well, and that's the squid on the face,
Yeah,
right? Sometimes we need to address the squid on your face before we can ever get to the next
not a
one.
real squid.
Not a
but-
real squid, no.
I actually used that phrase the other day and someone was like, what?
Yeah.
So you have to give somebody the visual, which is, you know, a squid, an octopus. So imagine if an octopus with its, you know, tentacles just literally wrap itself around your head. That's all you can see, right? So when we say, you know, what's the squid on your face? It's like literally, I just can't see anything except for this. Like, and we're never Mindy and I are never going to help anybody get where they intend to go if we can't literally one by one remove that squid off their face. Like, oh, now I see this, right?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. But you're right. A lot of times the answers are inside, like, you know, the answer. And it's just a matter of, again, Mindy and I are flying above the forest.
Yep.
You're in your forest. And so it's just asking you questions. And then all of a sudden you start to realize and go, oh, wait, okay, here. And you start to get the clarity. So we just help you, a lot of times help you get clarity.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you, guys. This was awesome. Little workshop, intensive
You're
here.
gonna get out
Reminder.
there.
I'm like I'm gonna go work on my plan right
I'm like
now.
a flower. There's no intense with me.
Oh, my goodness. So if we could just bottle John's energy, you know, I mean.
However, you said energy, and I just want to say, again, because that's in my unique
Passion.
ability,
It
right?
comes
It's
out
in
of
my
you.
unique ability. So helping people see and achieve a bigger future than they ever imagined possible faster,
Yeah.
like that drives me. So that's why
Totally.
there's energy there. If you wanted me to talk about, I don't know, something I'm really not good at, like completing paperwork,
I was gonna say filing.
filing, I'm better at filing than completing paper. Completing paper
filing
is a
even a
major
thing?
battery drainer for me, so.
Well, yeah, online, but like you're the master of the process.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah,
I think,
Yeah.
like,
totally.
everybody goes back to what energizes you is where you should build your life
Yeah.
around those things. John
Yeah.
certainly
Thank
has
goodness for Mindy.
practiced what he preaches there, so.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Appreciate your heart. Man, I just love being by you. And,
Likewise.
and also just bringing us back to really who we are and who God created us to be. I just think it's amazing to hear from the truth, the word,
Yeah.
and have our lives connected in that way. So
Yeah.
thanks, man. I sure
Thanks,
love
God.
you. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
love you too,
It's
man.
good to see you.
Yeah.
All right, listeners, this was a special session of
Reunion of sorts.
yeah, a little bit of a reunion. We got to do this more often,
This really was.
but hope you guys enjoyed it as much as the three of us did.
Absolutely.
And thank you guys again for coming. So make it a great day.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the discussion and the information we shared.
We hope you enjoy the information contained in today's podcast and find it useful.
We hope you will join us again next time as we explore new areas of interest to our listeners or current issues we believe are important to discuss.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe so you are notified when future episodes are released, and also share it with a friend that you think would benefit.
If you'd like to meet with a member of the Expert Network team or have a request for a special topic you'd like to have us discuss on the podcast, submit those requests to info@expertnetworkteam.com. That's info@expertnetworkteam.com.
Thank you for joining us and have a great day.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. We want to remind you that listening to this podcast does not establish a client-professional relationship with any of the professional firms represented, including guests, nor does it constitute legal, investment, accounting, or other advice of a fiduciary nature. The views expressed are those of the professionals only.
Investment advisor services may be provided through A&I Wealth Management. Securities may be provided through Geneos Wealth Management.